Hey everyone, my name is Brody Cole, and I'm a synth lover uh, and music producer. Uh, I've actually wanted to start a channel for a little while, but I didn't really know where to start. So I guess this is kind of like my first official video, and I kind of thought maybe it would be cool to just give my opinion on synths as kind of like a new uh, entry to the kind of YouTube pool. I really like just like a vast variety of different synths, and I'm curious, maybe there's some people out there that are kind of specifically looking for the tone that I really know and love, and I try and kind of get out of synths from time to time, because sometimes I'll go on YouTube and look at like synth reviews, and it's sometimes hard for me to uh, really see the full potential for the sort of music that I want to make in some of the other reviewers, just because everybody has like their own styles. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of just like start this little channel and just see if there's anyone else out there kind of like me, and maybe kind of create our own little bubble. There's probably no better way to kick it off than my official Prophet 5 and 10 Rev 4 review. And it's kind of not going to be like a crazy, super in-depth review, but if you want one of those, definitely let me know. I figured I'd just kind of start out by giving you my opinion of the synth after owning it for about 7 months. And kind of some cool stuff that I've discovered in it. So yeah, let's take it for a spin. All right, so let's get into it. So we've got the Prophet 10 here. It's definitely like my prized possession at this point, but I remember my probably first 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks with this synth. I remember being like, I just need to return it. It was kind of a dumb decision. Like the Prophet 6 was kind of all I needed. Like, and for a lot of people, I think that actually is the case. Like, I think you can't go wrong with the Prophet 6. And this is more limited than the Prophet 6 in a lot of ways. But what I came to realize about this synth was that rather than trying to recreate patches that I had on my Prophet 6, I tried to actually just dig into this and see what I could get out of it. Well, I think the final verdict I ended up realizing was that this synth just sounds so organic compared to really any other synthesizer I've like played. You can get insanely good electric piano sounds out of this. Um, I should preface like synthetic, albeit, but that is always the tone I've been going after. Is that soft piano slash organ sounds. And this just does it so well, in addition to obviously all the beautiful like 80s tones you can get with it. With that vintage knob too, which is also now on the Prophet 6, as all of you all know. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of show like some of my favorite settings I've made on it. Another big thing for creating those kind of like organic piano slash organ sounds, or like a huge thing that helped with this synth, is adding that feature that allows you to use a sustain pedal attached to your release knob instead of the sustain. It just makes the piano sound so much more realistic. Like here's one I've made. The sustain pedal, let go. Let go. Like, I mean, that is... It just dies off in a very natural way. And you can change that, right? So it's really just, it's activating your release, whatever you have it set to. So you can really dial it in. It's not just this mundane kind of like hold out the sustain forever for these piano sounds, it just makes all the difference, as you can probably hear. It's just beautiful. And when I discovered this, it just blew the synth wide open for me, because not only could I get those crazy 80s sounds, I could also get like these very pleasant, mellow, just like piano sounds. And I just think that that's so cool that an instrument like this can be that versatile. Glitch. Okay. Another example of the release feature. You turn, if this is on, it's going to activate wherever you have your release set. Turn it off, and now it is the sustain pedal's job. That is so cool. And what that allows, so if you're playing big chords with like a lot of release, with 10 voices it can kind of get crazy, or people can kind of think like, oh no, you know, I have found myself wanting to limit other synths' voices sometimes just so I don't get those tails. See how messy that sounds? But I mean, you don't have to lose voices if you just take the sustain pedal off, or I should call it, I guess, the release pedal now. If you remove that in between chords, lift, you have none of the voices from the chord before, and then you can reapply it so that the next chord, lift, reapply, lift, reapply. And once you kind of get that mastered, I mean, it's so cool to still have that many voices, but they're not getting in the way of anything. That was another big thing for this synth that, like, I really don't think of it. The Juno 106 has a, and I don't know if the 60 or the 6 have it, but it's got that Poly 2 mode that allows you to kind of do the same thing, and it sort of tries to figure out which voices to cut off. Aside from that, though, I've never had a synth that, is able to do that, is able to cut those tails of like long release off in between chords. You know, that's such a handy feature, and it goes a long way. I think another cool feature that I don't see a lot of people talking about is the noise modulation on the Prophet 5 and 10. That's another big one. It allows you to like it allows you to use like noise to modulate things. And I know the Prophet 6 does have a feature where if you go up to the random button and go all the way to noise, or sorry, go all the way up on your, I think it's the frequency, it turns into like noise modulation, but it doesn't quite sound the same. You can really dial this in because you can blend your LFO with the noise. And kind of what that allows you to do is, like on that last sound I had, see how I've just got kind of like a LFO on the filter, but if we go and change this to noise and bring it up, and that kind of just sounds scratchy, right? But something I've discovered is if you attach that to like the frequency, you can get this like tapey modulation sound that just sounds straight up like a broken tape machine. I've just never experienced such a subtle, powerful modulation sound for making these sort of patches without having to use external effects like the warped vinyl by Isotope or something. Like, you're getting this straight out of the box. There's no processing going on whatsoever. Yeah, that's insane. um, it really has a lot of unique character. I think the ability to make your LFO multiple shapes at once kind of adds another weird character. You can kind of mix that strange LFO in with your noise. A little more subtle. It's just so perfect for getting that like warm warble that everybody knows and loves at this point. But right out of the synth itself, like that is so cool. Kind of before this, I was sort of just stuck, doing the classic just triangle or sine LFO to the pitch at a slow rate, which I mean that'll get you. Whoops, that'll get you kind of where you need to be, anyways. But that's too much. But let me find another setting. Yeah, let's just jam on some of these patches, and you guys can tell me what you think of the overall tone, and then we'll do a conclusion at the end. It's kind of like a little bit primal in terms of how you menu dive to get to it, but the split and the stack function just also makes the synth so much more useful. And actually how you enter this is holding preset. And you can either, while you're holding preset, you can either have it say stack, normal, or split. And I can do a more in-depth tutorial on this if you guys want. But really, I was just kind of going to show you what was possible with this too. You can get really creative with it, I've tried some interesting ideas of like getting making one patch transposed using like the oscillators to like a different key than another one, and then like I don't know, it's kind of cool having like a. Let me try and find one for you. Like, not that. Yeah, like this one. I have like a sine, like a sub bass over here. And then I've got this kind of like square modulated, square to filter modulated patch on this side. And together they just make some cool sounds. that sounds so full, like for to be playing that. I'm not multi-tracking or anything. Like that is so cool. And I know it's just like simple like bitimbrality, but I just never saw it coming um from them when I originally purchased it. That just made the synth so much more, in my opinion. You can just do some crazy things. Something I think could be cool, and I don't think it's currently a feature, but I haven't again tried to figure this out. It would be cool to see if you could have both patches on separate MIDI channels and then control them with the DAW or either like another controller or something like that. Could open up the possibilities. Um, like I said, I actually don't know if that's a feature. We'll have to find out. But I love doing that sort of thing. I mean, like finding creative ways of like messing with instruments that I don't think everybody necessarily thinks about is like really fun. I want to do another video where like so the brilliant thing with this is you might think that the LFO is limited, but in terms of what you can map it to here, and then of course you have polymod, which is its own thing. But Sequential decided to make every single knob on this controllable via MIDI CC. So that includes your volume knob here. And one of the big things from the Prophet 6 was like it had amp modulation. So you could add that kind of like, that's something I just wish I could get out of this, is that amp modulation. It had that tremolo sound. But what's cool is, and I'll do a video on this too, but you can make like MIDI LFOs, and then you can map it to any of these, and then so honestly, the possibilities of modulation with this thing kind of are endless too. So that's the Prophet 10. I know I didn't really go very in depth. I just kind of wanted something for my first video. I don't really honestly know how I want these videos to go yet, but I'm hoping that like maybe people asking questions and people like wanting to know things, and that will kind of create new ideas for me to kind of go down. So that this channel is going to be super oblique for the first bit until I think we kind of figure it out. It's just going to be me showing you some weird approaches, I think, to synths that that aren't everybody's immediate like go-to approach. So yeah, Prophet 10, I think it's an amazing synth. I think it's definitely worth every penny. It's different from the Prophet 6 for sure. I think it can get a lot softer than the Prophet 6. And you can get some of that crazy warbly stuff right out of the box without having to use like plugins. And then yeah, I was gonna say like my recommendation is definitely try it. Like there's so many different retailers that have like crazy long, return policies. And I would definitely encourage you, if you're on the fence about it, just get one from one of those retailers and mess with it for like 3 weeks to a month if you can, because that's how long it took me to realize kind of like, okay, there's more to this than just like a little bit of a nuance in tone. Like it definitely has some capabilities that you don't really get out of everything. I don't know. That's the Prophet 10. If you want another video going more in depth on it, like I said, we can do that MIDI video. I'm just gonna keep kind of posting videos until we figure out the niche here. So anyways, hope everybody has an amazing day, and yeah, feel free to ask me any questions. I'll see you in the next one.